Hello world, Reporter Dev here. This morning, while in quarantine, a couple things crossed my mind. One of which is one of the things that bothers me most in this world is when my friends or family or people in my circles make bad purchase decisions. Whether it's just buying something that was obviously not a good product match for them, or it was just a terrible ripoff, a bad purchase. So the question that I'm looking to answer in today's video is, how much should you be spending on a gaming laptop or PC right now in the year 2020? Now, there's so many variables that come into play here when considering your next purchase when it comes to this market space. Of course, you should be watching review videos from your trusted YouTube reviewers such as myself and others, of course, but also it just comes down to a little bit of experience, being able to recognize a good value from a bad value. Now, I'm just going to get straight into product tiers here, looking at processor and GPU, how much, in my opinion, you should be spending and what that should be getting you right now during this time. So, of course, the biggest question is this content still relevant? Because we have 10th generation Intel laptops coming in the very near future, already some of them hitting market, as well as the new Ryzen chips that's making huge waves in the laptop space right now, even outclassing Intel chips in some instances. But from what I can see is there's still a lot of manufacturers still opting for Intel in their refreshes of their yearly lineups, even though the Ryzen chips are already showing to be so good and they're already being super positively received by reviewers in the laptops that we've seen so far. So is it a bad idea to purchase laptops with last year's chips? No, not at all. 2019 was one of the best years ever in terms of gains and overall performance and value that I've seen ever in history in the laptop space. So if you can find a good deal on a 9th generation Intel chip, I would definitely go for it. 8th generation is still pretty good, but at this point, I usually don't like to recommend people to go more than one generation back when considering a purchase. So if you can find a good deal on 9th generation, I would totally jump on it. 9th generation Intel chips are still super good, but then if you're looking at 8th generation models, I'd probably stay away from those. Now, I definitely think that, when you're looking at a baseline of what you should be purchasing in terms of a gaming laptop to be able to comfortably game and not have to basically turn everything down in terms of graphical settings to the minimum and just have a horrible experience, would be laptops with the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650. I reviewed laptops with this GPU such as the Lenovo L340, the Asus G531 GT. I'll leave links to both of those review videos down in the description below. Now, for laptops with the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650, you should be able to get around $800 to $900 tops. You should be able to get a good laptop with a GTX 1650 and an Intel Core i7 9750H. Of course, on sale, I've seen them even lower, under 800, between 700 to 800, and that is pretty much the sweet spot. And we're only going to see that price point get lower as 10th generation laptops sweep across the board and just take over the market, and we're going to see lots of blowouts and manufacturers clearing their inventory. So you definitely do not want to be spending more than $800 on a laptop with an i7 and a GeForce GTX 1650. Oh, and this is in USD, of course, in terms of currency, at this point when we're at the end of 9th generation, entering into the 10th generation lineups from Intel. The next step up, the GTX 1660 Ti. This is a super popular GPU for laptops, and you're going to want to be able to find these laptops with a 1660 Ti and an Intel Core i7 9th generation for $1,000 or less. That would be the sweet spot. You can probably find them on sale at this point for around $900 to $1,000, but you don't even want to remotely consider a GTX 1660 Ti laptop at this point in time for over $1,000. If it's over $1,000, don't even look at it. Now, RTX 2060 laptops, they'll be at the high end around $1,200, on sale even between $1,000 to $1,100. See, all these price points are so close together, and this is how it is in most industries I've seen. What you see is very small price jumps, incremental almost, between the different tiers. So it's like at each tier, the next tier up seems like not that much more for you to upgrade and just spend a little bit more. But you always have to, as a consumer, draw the line somewhere and say, what is the most that I'm willing to spend? So the next step up, RTX 2060. It's not a whole lot more, but these RTX 2060 laptops, you should definitely be able to find. At this point, honestly, since we have laptops coming with the RTX Super Edition cards, I would probably look for an RTX 2060 laptop at around 1100 at most, maybe 1200 if it's got a couple extra features like extra storage or something like that, or a larger screen. But overall, 1100 or less for an RTX 2060 would be a good deal. Now, even higher on the spectrum, RTX 2070 laptops. You're going to want to be able to find those laptops on sale anywhere from $1,400 or less. Anything over $1,400 for an RTX 2070 just is not worth it. And honestly, I wouldn't really look so much into an RTX 2080 in laptops, just because if you're really trying to get that much performance, I really would just recommend looking into building a gaming desktop. Because there's such a balance between how much power these things are consuming. It just becomes almost not portable when you get to some of these higher end laptops. So you start seeing much larger power bricks with RTX 2070 and 2080 laptops. You can find these with MaxQ editions where they don't draw that much power, but I haven't really considered any MaxQ edition variants because the performance is just that much lower. So I really just wouldn't recommend looking at MaxQ cards. That's kind of the spectrum there. RTX 2070, you're going to want to be able to find for $1,400 or less, hopefully closer to $1,300 at this point, because again, with 10th generation laptops coming this year, we're going to see laptops with RTX 2060 Super, 2070 Super, 2080. They're going to have Super and MaxQ editions on all of these, and you're just going to want to be able to find these current generation laptops at these good price points. So just a quick recap: GTX 1650, $800 or less with an i7. GTX 1660 Ti, $1,000 or less with an i7. RTX 2060, you're going to want to be able to find it at around $1,100 to $1,200 or less, hopefully. RTX 2070, $1,400 or less, hopefully closer to $1,300 at this point for laptops with 9th generation Intel chips. And RTX 2080 laptops, they can be all over the spectrum, around $1,500 or $1,600, but I really haven't considered them myself. Personally, but that's kind of my take down how much you should be spending. So at each one of these tiers, ask yourself, is it past these recommended price points? And it's probably not that great of a deal. Next gen laptops, at the beginning of the curve, everything's always going to be at the very top of the price points here. You're going to be paying a premium to be one of the early adopters of this newer technology. That's how it always goes. So again, we're already about halfway into the year. If you're looking at these newer laptops with these Ryzen chips and these newer 10th generation Intel chips, you're definitely going to want to consider how soon do you need a laptop? Do you have to buy one right now? Maybe you can stick around and wait until Black Friday. With overall business slowing down in the world right now, we're definitely going to see, I think, companies later this year get a little bit more desperate in terms of how much they're willing to lower their price points. So that's one possible prediction for the future. We may see a Black Friday with sales that we just haven't seen for years, just because businesses will be so hungry for business potentially. So that could definitely be worth waiting for. But what I've seen is just overall greediness from companies like NVIDIA, how much they're charging, I think, OEMs for these. So what I like to see each year is the amount you're paying, what you're paying. When you're paying $1,000 for a laptop in 2019, you should be able to spend $1,000 as well in the year 2020 and still get about a 15% performance increase over what $1,000 would have bought you last year in the year 2019. So overall, that's my recommendation. I wouldn't really recommend buying a laptop right now with the newer generation refreshes from Intel and AMD unless you just absolutely don't really care about getting the best value or deal and you just see these and you want one right away off the bat. But definitely my best recommendation for people that I know would be try to look for good deals on 9th generation Intel laptops. We're going to start seeing good prices from those. There's no real reason right now to consider the newer generation laptops unless some of the features like what we're seeing from these new Ryzen 9 laptops is just astronomical battery life. So if you're looking for a real all-day daily driver that has all-day battery life and can also game, that's another thing to consider. Because what I will say is last generation laptops, gaming laptops, really didn't exceed about 3 to 5 hours of battery life on a charge, and that's just while doing productivity work. So that's like the only thing I would consider. Otherwise, I would probably look for a deal on last generation. I love checking websites like Slick Deals. Whenever I'm shopping, I'll check I'll make the rounds on all the websites when I'm looking at a particular product. I'll look at B&H, Newegg. I'll look at everywhere, Tiger Direct, Best Buy, Amazon, eBay, basically everywhere. Keep your options open. And definitely also, I recommend joining my Discord server. We do have a deals channel. Whenever I see good deals, I try my best to post them there and shout them out to you guys. So anybody looking to purchase these laptops can get in on some savings. So hope this video helped you out. Feel free to always drop a comment asking me with a link, is this a good deal? Shoot me a link on any of my social media handles, really. Best way to reach me, though, is by joining my Discord server. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. I never get tired of answering questions. Is this a good purchase? Do you recommend this? This laptop versus this one. I never get tired of answering those. So please like this video if it helped you out. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. Take a look in the video description for links to some of these products that I mentioned in this video for my other reviews, and my Discord server. Once again, I'm going to recommend joining my Discord server. It's totally free to join, and that's the best way to reach me. And there's about 200 members right now, all super helpful, and they can also give you some good recommendations as well. So thanks again for watching. Top Water Dev out.